when I was writing The Hunt for Zero Point, that was a very focused search on that, that aspect of have we beaten gravity? Have we cracked the gravity code? And the 0 point reference in the title, as you say, Amrit, is about 0 point energy, which for those who don't know it is about it is a phenomenon in which virtual subatomic particles pop into existence around what's called as the 0 point baseline of existence, which is a vacuum chilled to absolute zero, and there shouldn't be subatomic movement classically at that level, the 0 point level. But what physicists found is that there are this jiggling energy as particles flash in and out of existence, which is why they're called virtual particles. There is a phenomenal infinite amount of potential energy in those flashes of in and out of existence of these particles. But of course, because they're virtual, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to tap into that energy. So, but many people have tried, and as I went on that journey, I found that even very credentialed physicists today had spent their careers, their professional lives, trying to make that happen. There are anecdotal stories that people have cracked the 0 point field and have pulled energy from it, and I do tend to believe some of them are true. The problem is it's very difficult to batten that down with facts, because the facts are pretty elusive. And we might go into why that is in a while. So then to that other question about what are UFOs? Well, I think they're a mix of a lot of things. I think that there is some man-made technology in there. I think that there is some non-human intelligence technology in there as well. And I also think that reality itself is much stranger than classical physics gives it credit. And that some of what we see out there is a sort of bizarre reflection of our own consciousness. So it's almost like it's a mirror. And that is why UFOs, or partly why many UFOs are so strange. They don't, one thing that baffles me as an aerospace guy is, why don't we just see the same shape all the time? Or maybe a handful of UFO shapes. But instead, it's like there's an infinite number of them. And one of the things that I had to get my head around very early on was, given that sort of plethora of variation, and given the plethora of sightings, I mean, probably, I've never totted it up, but there probably are dozens of sightings every day around the world of craft. Can all of these craft and their occupants, if they have any, be making it here from some distant point of the galaxy or different galaxies, exploring our planet? I fail to believe that our planet, for all its beauty, can be that interesting, that beings are coming here the entire time, every day, for decades, to case us out. So with that in mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's something else, or maybe it's partly something else, or maybe it's mostly something else, which then caused me to take a look at the nature, the construct of reality itself. Because if it's not beings coming here, journeying here in interstellar spacecraft every day of the week, then surely it's something to do with the way that we perceive reality. Because these things are flashing up onto the, if we can call it that, the screen of our perception all the time. And I've got my Substack site is called Rogue Icons. And I call it that because there is a fantastic cognitive scientist who works out of the University of California called Professor Donald Hoffman. I don't know if you've come across his work, but the guy is a genius in my mind, because
Absolutely
what he came up with
Yeah.
was a metaphor for how we perceive reality, how we deal with reality. And he likens that to a computer screen with icons on it. And just as I am, clicking on icons on my computer screen, that gives me a way of navigating around my computer. I don't need to understand about bits and bytes and the machinery and the software that goes into those icons. I just click on the icon. That's good enough. But of course, in amongst all those regular icons of experience that we click on to live our lives, there are non-ordinary icons, ghosts, cryptid creatures, UFOs, near-death experiences. Those are non-ordinary icons, which I call rogue icons. But they're not just unique to me. Lots of people see them. So they must come from somewhere. And we're just, to my mind, having investigated this stuff, we're just not seeing every day all the icons on the screen. We just see a lot of icons. But every now and again, there's some glitch in the field, the matrix, whatever you want to call it. And those rogue icons pop up on my screen of experience, my perception screen. And I see them, I hear them, I smell them, whatever, they're there. And those need to be investigated by science. They're not, because science is terrified of reputational risk and doesn't go there. But to my mind, that's where breakthroughs come. Einstein gets his breakthrough about general relativity when he sees Mercury in a position behind the sun that it shouldn't be in, because gravity is lensing the view between here and there, and this gives him his insight into general relativity and the space-time construct that is our dominating now, science worldview. But we need a new science worldview, because the existing one is breaking apart before our eyes with all of these rogue icons appearing in our experience, for millions of people all over the world. And that, to me, bespeaks the fact that we are on the threshold of some new science paradigm that we haven't quantified yet.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely loved this, well then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.